choosing to sacrifice versatility or power. Introducing Lighter. Lighter released to do this, but the biggest offender of this right now is Yixuan.
Welcome to my channel. My name is ZZZ, and I'll be your host today. Alright, this is Yojimbo's video. Additional abilities, Aspire, dynamic gameplay, why are so many lame? I was supposed to react to this a long ass time ago. I just forgot.
Additional abilities in Zenless Zone Zero are pretty interesting for game design. I want to share why I really enjoy that design space, but I also want to discuss my disappointment about how—
I can turn the volume up, can't I? Let me do this real quick. Let me put this at 5 at least. Patch 2.6 is finally here, and our first angel has finally come. And alongside her, the long-awaited rerun of Yixuan. And in the second half, we will have Yuzuha and her second angel, Arya. But considering that the last patch had a new Void Hunter, your pulls might be looking oof. But don't worry, I got you back. Because with lootbar.gg, you could be saving big today. As if you were to click on my exclusive link in the description below, new users can save up to 23%. And all pulls will always be at a discounted rate. And after using Lootbar myself for over 2 years now, I can assure you that your pulls are safe. So if you are trying to become a Delulu, why not save some money today? And all you have to do is click on the bundle that you want, enter your UID and region, and within seconds, it will arrive in game. So be sure to check out the link in the description below. And with that out the way, let's get you back to the video.
some of these abilities are being used to make the game.
All right, let's go.
Additional abilities in Zenless Zone Zero are pretty interesting for game design. I want to share why I really enjoy that design space, but I also want to discuss my disappointment about how some of these abilities are being used to make the game less interesting. Howdy, I'm Yojimbo Blade, and first, here's a quick breakdown.
What makes an additional ability?
Additional abilities have two parts. First is the condition required to activate it, and then there's the ability itself. These abilities can range from simple and generic to super powerful. However, sometimes these powerful abilities are balanced behind their condition. This is a pretty neat way for the devs to help inexperienced players. By using this smiley face system, they are indirectly suggesting a team that will function to some degree. And for the players that have taken the time to understand the game, they realize that they don't need to follow these guidelines. Some examples: Corrin's additional condition is her element, which is physical, or her faction, which is Victoria Housekeeping. If that condition is met, her additional ability gives her a 35% damage buff against stunned enemies. While this is a nice buff, Corrin players soon realized that they don't need to have her additional. Before Dylan's release, her best team was something like Trigger and Astra. Corrin does well in those teams because her additional ability is truly additional. It's a generic buff that's decent, but not so powerful that you need to go out of your way for it.
Well, yeah, like that's because there's some additionals that like don't matter much at all, and then there's others that basically make or break a character, kind of like Lighter. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Despite what some people might have said, no, Ellen's additional does not matter unless they add something to it to make it very powerful. So
foreshadowing.
With Moonlight Lullaby gives 38% damage for Ellen on top of all the other buffs she gives. This doesn't even count other characters or even the stage or boss buffs. Another 30% damage buff does not solve the problems that Ellen faces when she struggles to execute her game plan. That was until 2.0 came out, and then they buffed Ellen's game plan, making it easier to use a stun agent for her additional. Yeah, that's nice. It doesn't fix the problems with Ellen. Ellen's additional does not matter if she fundamentally struggles playing the game. Right now, it's okay, but it's not important.
Additional abilities that are optional yet engaging. Because who's another good example of someone? Trigger? Yeah, Trigger. Because I know a lot of people will use Trigger in like anomaly teams. Example, Alice, right? They'll use Trigger with Alice. Trigger does not have her additional in that team with Alice and Yuzuha. But guess what? She doesn't need it. Trigger's additional ability is very, very overrated. People really think she needs it. Trigger does not need her additional ability. It's very overrated. If it's active, cool. If it's not, it doesn't matter. Like it's very not that impactful at all. Trigger and Rupture teams too. Like it's just not that impactful. 75% days sounds pretty good, but then like you play it and you're like, oh wait, that barely made a difference. I remember when this is with Fufu. Yeah, then he did one with Trigger, right? 53k with Fufu, and he got 51k with Trigger. Oh, but Jafufu with her additional ability and like how she was built, oh, she's supposed to be with Rupture agents, right? While Trigger doesn't even have her signature because her signature doesn't even work with Rupture's teams. He's using a different signature on this one. And she doesn't have her additional ability active. And the score is damn near the same. Like, her additional is extremely overrated. You don't need Trigger's additional. She is one of those characters where her additional just doesn't matter that much. It's one of those things, if it's active, you're happy. But if it's not, then it's not the end of the world.
I am saving my discussion about Lighter, so for now, let's talk about Caesar. Her additional condition is Faction, which is the Sons of Caledon, or an agent with a defensive assist. That's unique, and the ability you get is a debuff, so enemies take 25% more damage. Right. It's basically a 25% damage buff. I want to make this clear. I think this is at least okay, maybe not quite decent, but it's definitely not weak. It's kind of somewhere in the middle, right? And I would argue that's a good thing. Why? Because the condition to activate it is really simple. As of version 2.4, there are only 5 agents who cannot activate. Everyone else is fair game. So the trade-off for an almost universal additional is that it's not very powerful. However, even if you don't activate this, it's not a big deal. This means that if, and by if I mean when, they introduce a powerful DPS with an evasive assist, and you want to use Caesar, you might think carefully about who to choose as the 3rd slot on the team. Or you could decide it's not really important and choose an agent with an evasive assist like Astra. And I would call Caesar's a really good example of an ability that trades away power for versatility. This encourages players to make team building decisions, and that's the real reason I like additional abilities. I enjoy them because they ask players to make team building decisions, weighing the pros and cons with the options that they have. Good team building rewards players with additional abilities, so players are incentivized to learn some aspect of it without being told repeatedly that they should do it. That's a pretty neat game design. Meanwhile, I am uninterested in additional abilities that don't ask the player to make meaningful decisions. And that shouldn't be surprising. This started in version 1.5 from both Astra and Evelyn, and I'll pick on Astra specifically.
Robin, that are optional but still bland.
Including the change to her additional in 2.0. Her condition requires attack, anomaly, or rupture, and her ability is that she will use 1 more tremolo and 3 more tone clusters during a precise assist or her basic attack finale. Now this still follows the general principle from Caesar's. Its condition is pretty universal, but it's an ability that slightly increases Astra's damage, which is funny because Astra's damage contribution is always really low. So that means Astra's additional is healthy for the game, right? Well, I don't know. Let me pose a question. What are the teams you can make that don't meet Astra's condition? Well, there are few
Holy shit.
Don't meet Astra's condition. Question. What
the fuck? I got hella distracted. Wait, almost there. Almost there. And the next time you see the health bar.
A question. What?
Oh my god! Damn, she chunked the shit out of him. Damn. Oh, it's because it totalizes in Lost Void. Okay, I forgot about that. Bro, I completely forgot about that. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Dude, I was like, what the fuck? That last hit did so much damage. Yeah, you're right. It does total. I got so distracted by that. Oh man, let's rewind. My bad.
So that means Astra's additional is healthy for the game, right? Well, I don't know. Let me pose a question. What are the teams you can make that don't meet Astra's condition? Well, there are a few, but there are some really odd teams. Like DPS Ambi, Kalena, Ben, Lucy. You know,
like odd
units
stuff
from classes that aren't usually recommended
Lycon
as
too.
DPS agents. Now, obviously, you can use whoever you want as a DPS agent, but the game doesn't really advise players to do that, and I like that. That's a good thing. I would not recommend people invest into a DPS Ambi. You will be disappointed. But if the game already recommends that players shouldn't invest resources into these off-meta DPS agents, what's the point of Astra's additional? Now, as I mentioned earlier, someone could argue that this is actually good for teaching players to pair up supports with DPS agents. So it functions as a sort of onboarding tool. Sure. Regardless, that's still really lame. They already give tutorials on the role of the support class. The game's own definition of her class tells you what kind of agent she is. The only way players wouldn't know that she buffs DPS agents is if they ignored everything in the game or didn't want to read her kit.
Right. So, I wonder if he's gonna get to the. It probably happens later in the video. But I know one thing, when Ishwin first came out, there were some people like, bro, look at her additional. It's what, stun, defense, or support, right? Pretty sure, at least, isn't it?
Heading out for inspiration.
Your fortune seems pretty good lately.
Yeah, stun, support, or defense. And I remember when she first came out, some people were like, bro, what the fuck is the point of an additional ability if like they're basically making her work with everything? You know how hard it is to make a team? You would have to go out of your fucking way to make a team that she does not have her additional in, bro. You would actually have to go out of your way to do that. Like, what the fuck is the point of the additional? Like, it's just gonna be up almost every single time, no matter what.
I don't specifically dislike her additional. It's just really boring. It doesn't ask me to make any meaningful team building decisions. If I pick any agent from the class of DPS agents, Astra's additional will always work with them, no questions asked. I don't have to think about that. Quick tangent, since I mentioned about reading through kits. If they really wanted to help players with team building, then they should just make a simple description option for players that actually want to read through kits. When the game launched, a lot of
Yo, Jimbo, I love you, brother. I love you, man. You're a great content creator, bro. Shout out, yo, Jimbo. But my boy, you are so fucking funny. You expect gacha players to read? My boy? Read. Oh, you're so... Oh, that was a good joke. Good joke. Good joke. Yo, Jimbo. Brother, I love you, man, but there's a reason why guide makers will never be out of a job. Every single day I get on my YouTube and I'm like, damn, these people don't read.
agent kits were really brief, so players had to discover combos or interactions for themselves, for better or for worse. Now, a lot of kits have a bunch of wordy nonsense, so it's really annoying to read through them.
Yeah.
If you have free time, read through Lighter's core and try to understand what it's telling you.
Every fucking time, you know, yo, Jimbo, I'm gonna stop reacting to your shit, bro. Every fucking time I get blamed, I get called out for fucking pre-watching. I'm not pre-watching. I'm not doing it. Yeah, I'm about to stop watching you, bro. No, you're making me look bad, bro. You're making me look
anyway,
bad.
That's neither here nor there. It's not even that relevant to this video. But what is relevant is the sponsor of this video, you guys. I don't take sponsorship deals. The ones I've gotten have all been pretty lame, and I don't think you would find them interesting. If I think one is cool and interesting and not just a scam, I would tell you guys about it. So shoutouts to Superbro6413 and I Love My PC Necros for being sponsors of this channel. Thank you guys so much. If you want to become a sponsor of the channel to make sure I get paid for something, just become a member. It's that simple. And if that's not your cup of tea, totally
go support
fine.
Yojimbo.
Just leaving a like or a comment is more
He's a
than
cool
enough.
guy.
Subscribe if you feel like it, and if you want others to see this, share this with them. So overall, Astra's ability is kind of boring, but relatively harmless because her additional is just not important. However, there are a few that have additionals that I would consider to be boring, but also really powerful. I think Evelyn was the first agent to do this, but the biggest offender of this right now is Yixuan.
Wait, what the fuck?
Before anyone gets upset, no, I am not to do this, but the biggest offender of this right now is Yixuan. Before anyone gets upset, no, I am not targeting Yixuan enjoyers or her gameplay. A part of me likes playing her, but Yixuan is the easiest one to talk about because most of you guys watching, yes you have played her throughout the story or you have played her in the Lost Void. So Yixuan's additional ability gives her 20 adrenaline over 10 seconds after a teammate uses an ult. It can't be her, it has to be a teammate. Okay, nothing too crazy, more adrenaline is nice. It also gives 5 adrenaline and a unique attack when she swaps out with a perfect assist. That's actually pretty cool. It also gives a 30% damage buff on her EX moves against stunned enemies. Wow, that's pretty useful. That's kind of like what Corrin has. And finally, it gives her 40% crit damage for 15 seconds after using an ult. Reminder, she has her own special ult that doesn't use decibels. That also counts. Wow, that's really good. So altogether, this is really powerful. Remember, as of version 2.4, Ellen's entire additional is just 30% ice damage.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's picking favorites, right? Like, at the end of the day, it's a gacha company. They're gonna always pick favorites no matter what. Like, not every character, it will always get the same treatment. Not every character will always get the same amount of love. That's just the hard, honest truth that people have to just come to terms with and accept. Some characters will get a lot more love than others, and there's nothing you can do about that.
This is a lot more than that. So of course, for the sake of game balance, it makes sense for the devs to limit this additional's condition. Something that would put some future guardrails on her power, so you can't just use her carelessly. So what's her condition? Stun, support, or defense?
Easy as fuck. Yep. That's exactly what I was saying and others were saying when we first saw her and her kit. We were like, yo, what the fuck is the point of this additional? Like, it's gonna be up no matter what. Like, is this even an additional at this point? Like, you might as well just say it's part of her core kit. Is it even additional at this point?
Remember that Yixuan is a DPS, usually the main DPS of the team. So, what halfway competent team can't activate this additional? There isn't one. No, don't even try to tell me stuff like Seed and Orphe or Vivian and Alice. Do those duos want Yixuan as another DPS? No, they don't. You have to go out of your way to not activate this additional. My issue is not that her additional is powerful. My issue is that until they add more support agents that are not part of the 3 listed in her additional, there are 0 Yixuan teams that can't activate this. Think of the 2 worst supports in the game for Yixuan. Yes, she still activates her additional. Again, someone could argue that this is to help the players who aren't as dedicated to the game, and that kind of makes sense with all the other things she can do, but that also means that those players won't have to question if their team is good, so they might be tricked into making a bad team for her that still technically works, which is why I fundamentally disagree with that argument. Here, we're not trading anything away. It's all the power and all if their team is good. So they might be tricked into making a bad team for her that still technically works, which is why I fundamentally disagree with that argument.
God damn.
Here, we're not trading anything away. It's all the power and all the versatility. There is no balancing act for this at all. At the point where she can activate her condition in any barely okay team, what is the point of an additional ability?
Amen.
The name itself is additional.
Amen.
If this ability is practically always active, then there's nothing additional about it.
Exactly.
Just put it in her base kit.
Amen.
Compare this to Miyabi. Her additional ability is really strong, but the condition is faction or support. While support is currently really powerful, the devs can, at any time they choose to limit Miyabi from using a powerful support by just making them a non-Section 6 stun or defense agent who gives, I don't know, a billion anomaly proficiency or buildup. If Miyabi wanted to benefit from that power, then she might want to choose another teammate who will activate her additional. Yi Xuan fundamentally lacks this level of engagement. And just because she recently released, no, dial-in is not the same. If you try to, you can make a decent dial-in team without her additional. It's definitely not good, but it's decent. This leads me to my next main point.
Additional abilities are powerful and engaging. Powerful but engaging. Powerful but engaging. I mean, who the fuck's he gonna say? Lighter?
I'm here, so we're good.
Is he gonna say lighter? Nicole?
Don't just think about it.
What was Nicole's again? Isn't it just ether damage bonus? Yeah, because the main part of it is just Death Shred. Like, this is just damage bonus. Hugo? I mean, yeah. You said Viv? Anomaly or... Okay. Okay. Wonder what he's gonna say.
What I enjoy about additional abilities is that they can allow the devs to make powerful tools limited to specific teams, choosing to sacrifice versatility or power. Introducing Lighter. Lighter released in version 1.3, and his condition is attack or faction, and the ability gives up to 75% fire and ice damage to the team based on his impact. And the buff from this is pretty consistent. Even if you don't reach this full 75%, it's still really useful. And by limiting this, they made the game healthier. If that seems odd, let me give one example to show what I really love about additionals. When Miyabi released, many players wanted to use her with Lighter because that's a pretty good team. Miyabi's condition is faction or support, and Lighter's is faction or attack. Is there an agent in the game that activates both of these? Take your time to think about that answer.
Detsuwa! Detsuwa!
There is one, and only one. It's Lucy.
You said Haru does work? Haru Lighter? Haru, because what? Haru's an attack agent, right? Yeah.
One, and only one. It's Lucy. If you want to activate both of their additionals, Lucy is the only one who can do it. Not Yuzuha, not Astra, not Vivian. What I really enjoy about additional abilities is that they can, indirectly, increase the value of agents. If you want to play Miyabi and Lighter, of course you can still use whoever you want to fill in that last slot. But because Lucy is the only one who meets both of their conditions, she has a niche that no other agent can fill. Now what if that changed? Suppose they gave Miyabi the Yi Xuan treatment, made her condition stun, support, or defense. And let's suppose they also made Lighter like Astra, attack, anomaly, or rupture. Why would we ever choose to use Lucy in that team over a different support?
Well, see, that's the thing, right? But that's what the community wants. Whether you agree or disagree, personally, that's what the community wants. Think about for months and months and months and months and months and months and months now, how you will always be able to find people bitching about Lighter's additional ability. Like, oh my god, why can't I use Lighter with Bonway? Why can't I use Lighter with Ihari? I have to sacrifice using Lucia. Like, think about it, bro. Think about it. Like, oh my god, I don't want to use Lucy with Miyabi with Lighter. I want to use Astra or Yuzuha. Like, that's what the community wants. That's what most people want. They want additionals to not be as restrictive because they want to be able to build teams easier. Whether you agree or disagree personally, that's just what most people want. Most people want this game to have more people want more Ishwins than people who don't. More people want characters that have very flexible additional abilities so they can just build way more teams. That's what most people want, unfortunately. Well, I guess depending on the side you're on, it could be unfortunately or fortunately, right? I guess that's a subjective one.
She indirectly becomes so much weaker because she's easily replaced. I've heard some players say that the biggest issue with Jufufu is that she isn't meaningfully better than a stun agent like Trigger, even in Rupture teams, and is just weaker than Dialin. While that is totally fair, imagine with me for a moment. What if Yishuan's condition was different? I'm not saying it should be this specifically, but what if it was something like defense or faction? That's it. How would this affect Jufufu? Wouldn't it give Jufufu a niche that no other stun agent could fill by being the only stunner to bring out Yishuan's additional? And how would this affect defense agents? Wouldn't it incentivize players to care about them? Obviously, you could still build a competent Yishuan team without Jufufu or defense agents, but then the game would actually ask you to engage with team building. You, as the player, would want to be careful about the choices you make while selecting agents and the consequences of it.
Okay. Additional abilities that are powerful and versatile are unhealthy. That are powerful and versatile are unhealthy. But that's just what most people want, man. Whenever you go to X or whenever you go to Reddit, hell, even Discord, YouTube comments, you will find way more people wanting easy to trigger additionals than you will find people who don't. That's just the truth.
Final point goes back to Lighter. I have heard from a lot of players that they wish Lighter's additional was easier to activate. Now, I completely understand why they think this way. They really like Lighter and they want to use him with Rupture Agent. And with Dialin released, that's totally fair. But some people were asking this before Dialin ever released. I want to caution those players. I want you to realize what you are doing. You are begging MiHoYo for power creep. Even if that wasn't what you're trying to do, that is what you are doing. And here's something to illustrate that. Assuming a player has Lighter and a Fire or Ice Rupture agent, the reason they would even consider using Jufufu in the team, besides liking her character or gameplay, is because of three main reasons. Number one, they just want another stunner for teams. That's fine. The second option, maybe Lighter will struggle to activate his additional. This would mean that Jufufu is probably the better option because she has an easier time activating her additional, even if she is not individually more powerful. However, there is a third option. If Lighter can easily activate his additional ability with any Fire and Ice team, then Jufufu simply has to be better than Lighter in those teams. If Lighter is just always better than her, why would you ever use Jufufu? She would have to be better than him. That is literally power creep. Please do not ask this company to add more power creep.
I know he's talking about like before Dialin came out, because he did say at the beginning of this, now that Dialin's out, that's fair. But it is funny that, like, in hindsight, for months I was of the opinion like, oh dude, like there's no way they're gonna make a better stunner for, fire and ice teams that lighter can have as additional on. There's no way they're gonna do it anytime soon. I said they might eventually do it, but I did not think they would do it this soon. And then
makes the game worse for everybody. I have a lot more to say about power creep. I would like to give my thoughts about Dial-In. So my next discussion video will be about that topic, but it's not going to be as boring as, I think power creep is bad. Ooh. It's a lot more nuanced than that.
Closing thoughts?
Before I wrap up, I have one final thing to show. There are some players who say that you can't use lighter without his additional. Now, I understand
No. You can do whatever the fuck you want. All I'm saying is, do not get upset. Like, look here. You can play whatever fucking team you want. You can do whatever team composition you want. But understand what you're getting yourself into. If you decide to play lighter without his additional, that's fine. If you have fun doing that, then fucking do it. I don't care. That's you. If that's how you have fun, what am I to take away from your fun, right? Who am I to take away from your fun? Go for it. But if you come back to me and like, bro, I'm not clearing, I'm struggling, that's on you. Don't be mad at me. You chose to do this. Look here, understand what you are getting yourself into. Okay, if you struggle while doing some like unoptimal stuff, don't complain. You have no right to complain if you are doing unoptimal stuff on purpose. But if you are having fun doing unoptimal stuff, then that's way more important, because the number one thing to do in this game is have fun. So if you have fun doing unoptimal stuff, then hey, more power to you. Again, you should be having fun while you play a video game. But do not come back to me and bitch if you're playing unoptimal shit and you are struggling. You chose this life. You knew exactly what you were getting into. You chose to do this. That is your fault. Okay? That is your fault, not mine.
But I chuckle because they make it sound like lighter is completely unselectable. Like what, you can't even click on him? Oh, there we go. I just needed to activate his additional before I could select him. No, that's obviously not the case. I want to inspire players to enjoy playing the game and give into real FOMO. If you want to know what I mean when I say real FOMO, watch this video after this fight against Wandering Hunter with Monito, Pan, and Lighter. Is this the best possible team? No, of course not. Is this team decent? Maybe. In the editing, I can see all the mistakes I make, so maybe it's decent. I don't know. Did I enjoy playing it? Yes, absolutely. The end game of Deadly Assault and Shiyu Defense are a waste of resources if you don't enjoy playing the game. And if you don't enjoy playing the game, then why are you playing? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this discussion, and I hope this gameplay excites you. My name is Yojimbo Blade, and I hope you have a blessed day. See you soon.
All right. What we always do, because he usually puts gameplay at the end, I just make sure that I link it in the stream. So let me just link his video in the stream real quick. And I'll also link it on the video, on the actual YouTube video. Go check out Yojimbo. He's a cool dude. Go support him. W Yojimbo. Let's get to some reviews now, chat, shall we?